fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they never understand.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk and give you guys some updates regarding greatsword builds. A lot of people are debating on whether or not the new Brachydios greatsword is an upgrade or not, and the answer to that is yes and no. It all depends on the situation and what you would prefer in a greatsword build. More sharpness for comfortably or more raw for bigger damage numbers, but after showing you the builds I'll let you be the judge for yourselves. First, I'm going to start out with the Master Touch sets. As you can see with the Brachydios Light Break Blade, we're using 3 pieces of Tostra and 2 pieces of the new Raging Brachydios armor for max agitator. The build starts off with 1704 attack with peak performance and has a base of 30% affinity, but when the monster is enraged we get 20% affinity for 100% affinity on softened spots. I'm only using 2 focus because it's enough for me, but if you feel like you need more, drop a point of peak performance for it. But in my own experience it doesn't generate any greater benefit than just running 2 levels. I'm also running the higher rank arch-tempered version helmet of Tostra because it's still an efficient piece of armor in master rank. If you don't like running higher rank gear, just switch to the master ran version, but you'll be losing 1 level of peak for it. But trust me, running 1 higher rank piece of armor won't mean you easily get 1 shot. And now for the Safi Jiva variant of the build. It's pretty much the same, except with the Safi greatsword we get an attack of 1714 with peak, so the difference here is how peak performance affect each sword's raw, but we also don't as much purple for a hunt, so you're really relying on Master's Touch and your own skill on maintaining it. Now for some fun with Frostcraft sets. Frostcraft and greatsword is still a match made in heaven, and the set bonus shouldn't be overlooked. So for the first build we have a nice Safi semi-crit draw greatsword build. Since the Safi Blast greatsword and Brachydios greatsword are so close in raw to each other, I thought for elemental greatsword Frostcraft may be the way to go. However, just because I'm using an ice greatsword specifically here doesn't mean you have to use it. You can also use any other element. So for the build we use 3-piece Valkana with 2-piece Raging Brachydios for max agitator for even greater damage numbers. I normally don't like showcasing builds when even I don't have the decorations, but I thought I should still share it. Replace the 1 agitator decoration for a +4/1 and you'll have max agitator for the build. I've also included a non-peak performance build if maintaining the skill just isn't your thing. Now for our last build, I thought that it'd make Raging Brachydios greatsword an option for Frostcraft because we've never really been able to effectively take advantage of a greatsword with natural purple sharpness and decent raw and combine it all with Frostcraft without having to give up something else in exchange for it. Now the only issue with this build is that we have to run 4 pieces of Valkana, and unlike the Safi Jiva set which sorta hinders the build for efficiency, but we're still able to make the most of it. The greatsword requires a lot of affinity to work, and because of that we can barely add any offensive skills apart from weakness exploit and critical boost. So I went with peak performance as another form of attack increase. You can easily switch it out for agitator depending on the monster matchup, and then just add the attack augmentation instead of the health augmentation to add to the overall raw attack of the build. Now stay tuned for a quick damage comparison between the Frostcraft Safi set and the Raging Brachydios set. Now for a few closing statements. As we saw for the Frostcraft builds, the Brachydios greatsword won out on paper, but like the standard MetaMaster's touch sets, there are a few drawbacks for both. One being that the Brachydios greatsword won't be able to maintain purple sharpness long, since that's one of the big facts in how it's getting higher damage numbers. Also, since you can't customize the weapon, you lose out on some raw, since you have to run 4 pieces of Velkhana, which means you have to rely on secondary skills like peak performance for raw, whereas the Safi Frostcraft build is a little more comfortable in terms of what you can do to make the build better, like 2-piece Raging Brachydios, but it also relies on those skills for affinity, since there's no way to gauge how much additional attack max Agitator would have given it in the test. It lost in damage numbers, but the numbers were very close despite the sharpness differences. But determining what build is best will depend fully on your playstyle and preferences. And with that, I would like to say thank you for making it this far into the video, and hope you found the video even somewhat informative for your greatsword meta. But until next time, hunters, remember to stay classy and to hunt with style.